Hello, I'm back here with a new review of a fantastic book that I just finished. Actually, I finished it a few weeks ago. Children of Blood and Bone from Tomi Edeyemi, which is nothing less than a masterpiece. This is a fantastic book. It's actually a fantastic book. Like the genre is fantastic. It's a very powerful book which takes you through a story of which gonna make your mind go to different places. It's in an imaginary world which seems so true. It's taking you to Nigeria through deep into the Yoruba culture, you know, as far as deities, as far as gods, as far as the name of the characters, the language that they speak, So although it is a fantasy world, it is very kind of real and is set in a fantastic world that is actually that you can relate to different things, You can relate to different things. It's a magical world. It's totally magical, and it's. I mean, I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to spoil the story for the people who are going to see that video. But the one thing I can tell you is that this book, first of all, has been very well written because it's not a book that has been written in in some type of English that nobody's going to understand. It's written in a English that everybody can understand today, which makes it very appealing. It's very young, it's very fresh, it's very powerful. The ideas that are being developed are great, and there are several messages. You get some magic, you get some mystical, you get some, and the charm of the story is just very nice and powerful. So the principal characters are Zeli. She's got a brother, his name is Zane, and so that's kind of one couple, the brother and sister, but you can take them as a couple. And there's another couple that are, I would like to say, as powerful as far as the story goes. It's Amari and Inan, who are actually the son and daughters of the emperor, like the empire, the the emperor of Orissa. So Orissa, as soon as you hear Orissa, you know that it's going to be about God. You know that it's going to be about the Yoruba culture, but they live in a place which is called Orissa. And Orissa, you can see it here at the beginning. There is a map actually. Where's the map? There is a map of Orissa. Orissa is made of different villages. One very important village is Ilorin, because Ilorin is the place where Zeli and Tizen are from. So Ilorin, there's a lot of talk about Ilorin. Ilorin is a very important place. So this is Orissa. So this is Orissa, and you have all the different places like Ibeji, like Wari, like Ikoyi. Where's Orissa? Where's Ilorin? You got Lagos, so you know that it's you know that we are in Nigeria. Ilorin is right there. You got Ilorin right there. Lagos is there. Lagos is the capital. Lagos is the big place. Lagos is where you have the big castle with the big emperor Saran. So the dad of Amari, and so he's the father of Amari and Inan. So basically, let me dive into it without spoiling the story. Like I said, it's about mystical, it's about magical, it's like it's not a fairy tale, but it's a journey. It's a real journey through the whole of Orissa to find magic again. Like I said, it's a magical world, but it's a world where magic has disappeared. Magic has been extinguished by Sauron, the emperor, who had a big trouble dealing with magic. And in the book, you get the explanation about why he doesn't like magic. actually, it's not that he doesn't like magic. He hates magic. He hates magic. And people who are born with magic, like you can see on the cover, they've got white hair. You know, they've got white hair. So it's like a sign of God. You know, it's like a sign of yeah, of like goodness. You know, so if you are born with white hair, it means that you are somehow related to a god or a goddesses or a goddess. And the great thing about it is that, and it's all explaining to it, he's telling you how you can relate, how like someone ordinary who has white hair can relate actually to a god or a goddess, and through that relationship you can develop a power. However, because everybody who had who had developed their magic power has been extinguished by Saran, the younger generation had kind of forgotten how to use that magic. So the whole story is about how basically we're going to try to bring magic back. And it's very interesting. It's a roller coaster ride, it's a roller coaster reading. And what is very interesting is how the characters have been developed. The characters are full of color. The characters are full of personality. The characters are so human. You know, sometimes you hear stories about some people who have done something. Sometimes you know them, sometimes you don't know them, and you do not understand why sometimes people react the way they react. And in this book, you get those 4 characters that are actually who are actually dealing with like very serious issues, and sometimes you want the characters to do certain things and they don't do those things, and then sometimes you see those characters, they are taking you to the path which you would take, and then at the last moment they turn around and do the totally opposite because they have a history. You know, they have, each character have a history, and if you take that history individually, it kind of makes sense, you know, because people do not change overnight. You know, people do not change overnight. And so this story, as much as it is about like a fantastic world, as much as it is about, you know, magic, as much as it is about culture, it's also about those characters which are going to take you to, which takes the book to a human dimension that is very reliable, relatable. You know, you can relate. And so that's why I think this book is very interesting. That's why I think this story is very interesting, because you get some action. You know, Zélie, she's the main character. You know, she's the main character, and she's a fighter. Zélie, she can fight. Zélie, she can kick your ass. Zélie is like she's the power source of the whole story. Without Zélie, there is no story. However, without Tizane, like her brother, there is no story either, because without Tizane, Zélie would have not survived. That's all I can say. Without Tizane, Zélie would have not survived. And in another hand, you have that other powerful couple, you know, the son and daughter of the Emperor Saran, who are Amari and Inan. Very, very complex character. Very, very complex character, because as you can imagine, they're gonna kind of mix, you know, like Zélie and Tizane, they are kind of ordinary people, and then you have the son and daughter of the Emperor, and like their life stories are gonna just kind of interlock themselves into each other to dislocate and then go back together. So it's taking you to a roller coaster of emotion, a roller coaster of feeling, a roller coaster of situations which are making you want, which are going to make you want to read even more and more and more and more. The book is about what? The book is about 500 and something page, you know, but until the end, until the very last page, you're like, what's going to happen, and then when it's happening, you're like, oh, did that just happen? no, that can't be. Did that? No, 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 no. And then you go back a few pages back, and then you reread it, and then you're like, oh, yes, it did happen, you know. And just for the story, you know, I bought the book based on an interview of the author. So Tomi Edeyemi, I saw an interview of her, like an interview of her. She was being interviewed, like the interview lasted maybe 10 minutes or so. But I was drawn by the character of the author, you know, like the way she was talking about the story, the way she was so joyful. Then I went on her Instagram, then I went on, you know, reading about like the book and everything, and I bought it, you know. And then when I bought it, I received it, I started to read it, I started reading it, and I was so into it. I was like, wow, this, and that. So I was talking about it to my wife. I was like, you better read this book. I was about to buy a second copy for my wife. But one day, I went to work, and when I came back from work, she was reading it. And actually, she couldn't let it go. So she actually finished the book before me. Not because I didn't want to read it, but because I couldn't get the book back. You know, one time we were eating, and my wife was like this. She was thinking, you know, and I could see that she was thinking, you know, we had two girls, you know, the two girls, they were eating, they were talking, but my wife was not paying attention to any one of us. She was like this. And I was about to tell her, hey, what's going on with you? Like, what's up, you know? And before I could say anything, she went like, Inan, man, this guy. You know, so Inan, like I said, is one of the characters of the book. So she was talking about Inan. She was like, kind of pissed off, emotional about the way and the stuff Inan is doing in the book. So it's just to tell you that this book is a fantastic book. It's in a fantasy world, but it's gonna make you think. It's gonna make you laugh. It's gonna make you, I'm not gonna say cry, but it's gonna make you wonder why people are doing things like this and everything. But most of all, it's gonna take you to places that are so vivid, that seem so real, that seems to exist for real, but it's in a fantastic world. So that's why I think you should go and grab this book, because this book, like I said, is a masterpiece. I think I believe it's a trilogy. So at the end, you're like, oh, you know, you just want to keep reading. You know that the story kind of it's the end of a cycle, and you know that another cycle is gonna start. You know, so that's why this book is very, very interesting to me, and that's why I think you should go and read it. So if you were thinking about reading it but you didn't know whether you should buy it or not, go get the book, Children of Blood and Bone, masterpiece. Bye.